It's been a long time.
Hello there, my name's Coop and welcome to my double bill review of the new Cyberpunk patches, patch 1.30 and 1.31. If you want to know why I've done them both at the same time, link in my last video. I basically couldn't get patch 1.30 working. Let's look at these notes. Really interesting one on the first patch. In actual fact, there's a bunch of interesting stuff on patch 1.30. I was genuinely annoyed I couldn't do the review of it. They've gone for the grainy thing, they're going to try and get rid of that. And we see some dynamic resolution and frame rate stuff being spoken about, and of course some really interesting stuff about the NPCs and the NPC behavior. Then we got the 1.31 recently, a couple of days ago, and they put in this thing about wet roads and reflections. We're going to get to reflections on the roads in a sec, but we are going to look at the classic down the stairs walk. Good Lord alive. The famous walk from the trailer down to the decimated city that is now our version of Night City. Yes, reduced population is still there, of course, but I want to talk about this dynamic resolution setup. I'm surprised we've had to see any of it on the 5. This is strange. The distance is more granular. They have upped the checkerboarding, I think. Some of the distance features and assets are really jagged and crude. Is the word I'm looking for. So I am not impressed with that. I'm not too sure if they've done it across the board to help with the base game systems, keep up to speed, but on my PlayStation 5 that's got a freaking Ryzen chip in it, I don't want to see scaling and super sampling. I want to see 4K, flat 4K. What's going on? Where's that? I did the same scene and the same walk at night, wanted to see some of those comparisons because we do have some mentions of added reflections and that ray tracing's been bumped up for the 5, but none of it's knocking me on my arse. I'm just still particularly annoyed about the lack of population in this open in town square, at least, and you see it in Ubisoft games, pumping a load of people for anyone who's coming down those stairs, so they just assume that Night City isn't desolate. This is also all done in one sitting. I had someone on my last video say, oh well, you're just editing all the bad stuff up into a 10-minute video. Trust me, the stuff that happens here is chronologically happening to me as I sit down with the new patches. Now I wanted to test the whole car stealing system. Is it still a bit broken? Yeah, it is, because you just shoot whoever you want to fish out of a car and face minimum amounts of police aggression. So that's also an area we're going to look at slightly later in the video, but it's always the first thing I check is what's going on with that police system. Have they made some tweaks? Because if they did, they might not mention it. That's another thing you've got to watch out about these patch notes, is they don't always mention everything. They may tweak things in the background that they should have fixed ages ago and they just don't want to declare. What hit me for not playing this game for sort of 4 weeks was the cars feel so much tamer. Now I don't know if that's a good or bad thing. What they have definitely done is adjusted the variables on the cars to give them each character. Like, you know, when you were in a cheetah on GTA, you knew you were in one because it handled like a actual live cheetah. But this stuff is a bit tamer, it's a bit more controlled. None of this was in patch 1.3 or 1.30. I know that it was done ages ago, but it's just still a shock to me to feel how precise the cars handle now. Gotta obviously check the old pop in, pop out on the distance, but this is just such a strange thing. I wonder if it's like a skybox where, you know, like you have a sea and then a set of waves will be permanently going in the background and the waves at the front will be the ones that they actually bother animating. I think that's the case here. Like, distance cars are like moving wallpaper. Car duplication, always one to smash that immersion, so I wanted to check it a little bit better. Not perfect, but still some obvious repeats, and I think they've kind of upped the amount of models that repeat because there's kind of 3 main ones. It does depend what side of town you're in. You might have a different car spawn system in the outskirts, but it's not, again, fixed. Just as a heads up, I have my HDR switched off, but I have my Bloom lens flare JJ Abrams button switched on because I don't want to miss anything out on that ray tracing front. I don't mind a bit of lens flare. It looks quite cool, especially at night on this game. This game's very pretty. And we can now see some of these reflections. Check this out. I might even speed this up. Nothing overtakes, undertakes, comes past, is parked, turning left, turning right. I don't think we see a single pedestrian. It's daytime. It's probably dusk, I think. Unforgivable. CD Projekt Red, come on. Don't be telling me you've dropped a patch and then I drive around your city and it looks like this on a PlayStation 5. Okay, can we do some plus stuff, Coop? Because we're all about to just get our Johnny Silverhands tattoos removed. Well, I think that the Reflections edition and this wet look idea is really good. The 1.31 stuff, like the little cherry on top that came through the other day, has kind of got me wowing more than a lot of the other material in that larger 1.30, which really, let's be honest guys, 85% fixes with quests again. And this is something I do want to point out. Get back to my beautiful capture in a second. This is the additional content screen that you get if you haven't logged in for a while, like my good self. And here are the three sort of chunks of stuff that they're offering people who already own the game, who've spent, 60 quid or gone through every eye of the needle with all of their patches, breaks and updates. Jesus, imagine if you had a base level PlayStation 4. Anyway, look at the top one. So just picture the boardroom and you've got all of the top chief execs, Adams there, and everyone's sort of coming up with ideas. There's a screen on that has got all of the police system doesn't work, Poppin's gone crazy, quests are all broken. You've got these bullet points, and of course these amazing brains come up with Johnny Silverhand's alternative skin as a solution to the problems. CDPR, you've got to understand what sort of message that sends out to your fan base, me being one of them. In the defense of the game, and I've said this before, it looks incredible on the current gen system still. Look at that back wheel and that metal. You can see the friggin' horizon reflected in it. That level of polish is just not seen in a lot of open world games. And I will also say the NPC outfit sort of randomizer has definitely been sorted out. I think that was mentioned in one of our notes, but I see outfits and actual models, male and female, that I've not seen before. You guys probably are aware, but I'm at least 150 to 200 hours in on this game, and I captured a lot of the city in its early days for an Instagram account. So I understand all of the NPC template outfits. I would hunt down the rare ones. This one's cool. Always been looking at Kim Kardashian at the old Met Gala. I also noticed on a plus point, I think they focused on shadows and reflections. So there was a meme that went around that showed V's reflection or shadow in the early period of this game. This shadow had these like crazy elongated arms. I just looked it up, it's not as funny as I remember, but it's good to see not only shadows but correctly elongated shadows against the distance of that sun. It does create a perfect idea of what time of day it is. Really clever and very much current gen. Right, it's combat time. Let's talk combat. Thinking about this, now I'm playing devil's advocate here, thinking about this, there is no major player out there that's got a first-person open world game that is basically a shooter. So this is an open world game like anything else, Assassin's Creed, GTA, but this one turns into a first-person shooter once combat kicks off, and you are competing with two markets there. GTA added the first-person stuff with an update, but they didn't even mess with that when they were coming up with its ideas in the first place. Also, we are looking at some strange gang detection mechanics. They don't really acknowledge me at the moment, even when I walk right up to them, even when I'm in their visual cone. I don't know if the aggro system has changed there, but stuff like this will just happen. Massive over consequence and massive under consequence is still a huge thing in this game.
Hey, hey, hey! Please, no.
Oh, let's look at the police. Fuck it, let's look at them. Because I love them, really. They are the most useless bunch of individuals in an open world video game. Now, it's perfect for me as a capture YouTuber because I can do what the hell I want, show you guys wherever I want, and still drive, shoot, and just raise as much hell as physically possible because nothing's going to come of it. Unless I sit there for 10 minutes until they run down a hill and get me.
I will find you! Fucking crib!
And run they do, bless them. one by one they trickle down. Absolutely shitting myself here. Obviously I'm not, because I can just get in the car and leave whenever I want. When they actually do catch up with you, and this is something I do want to say thank you to the guys for, is the stupid spawning behind you thing has kind of been minimalized. Keep your eyes on the top right corner of the map. Nothing should kind of bounce in or bounce out. That's cool. It's good that they now have a direction that they come in. You can genuinely take cover, and everything matters within the world now, because some bloke won't spawn directly behind you when you think you're winning a fight. This is a pan of the photo mode. You guys probably do know, but I don't use photo modes for static images. I use them to look at assets and work myself around how the game is put together. You get to see loads of stuff when you've got it all paused. One of the things that I respect CD Projekt Red for is the red engine and the dissipation and the particles and everything that was kicking off when that fight occurred. It has a lot of brilliant movable objects and physics put into it. It's just such a damn shame they're kept away from us through a lot of this arse over tit gameplay. Talking of arse over tit, so let's keep our eyes focused on the map now. There is an issue with dismounting a vehicle within combat. What would happen is that the individual will follow you to your spot, causing them to sort of teleport. The whole thing needs reworking, I think. Have these patches fixed the game? No. Have these patches fixed issues that I had major beef with? Yes. One of the things I will say is that grainy stuff that they mentioned in the patch notes for 1.30 is still there on the PlayStation 5. I see it everywhere. And we've also, I think, had a downgrade in graphics on the current gen systems. We still see popping everywhere, and I think that checkerboarding system is heavily in play on all systems. I don't think we now have this pristine, amazing high-res image because we're now on the PlayStation 5. But what we do certainly have is a very, very good frame rate, and it talks about the spiking in and out of combat. That has gone. Back out this policeman standing in the middle of the street. But yeah, it's a real welcome, that one. This footage is a really good example of smooth frame rates, and it's a very busy part. It's the slums, and it's kind of near starting area. It would always chug, stagger, load in, have issues, even on the 5. But I remember the PlayStation 4 base and Pro just having huge problems with this area. It's certainly somewhere to test. The NPCs, this situation, I just have to, you can't deal with it. He can't get out. He can't reverse his car. He goes into the hands in the air animation. Its shallow depth is so obvious as soon as you start coming into interactions.
Gear. Combat shit. It ain't. Take the ads and forget it, and start pretending you're dumber than you are.
As an outro, I have something else to say, and this is the deal with Cyberpunk 2077 for me. When things are good in this game, I get like a warm, fuzzy feeling that I'm playing something really special. It only lasts for a couple of minutes, but it's a hell of a lot warmer and fuzzier a feeling I'm getting with a lot of the new AAA releases that we've been playing this year. There is a game inside of this mess, and they will pull it out. I know they will. This combat still feels incredible, with all of the moves and sliding and guns. And look at No Man's Sky now, guys. There's still hope. I've been Couch Coop. I'll see you down there.